Well, tonight on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, Vice President Kamala Harris is in trouble. And a lot of people think that, the excitement and all of that they, brought up for her, it's going to just ride until the election day. There's only 63 days left before the election, ladies and gentlemen. And after the DNC convention, you would think this should be riding very, very high. But a lot of things has happened as of recent to really put a damper on some of that. Now, case in point, there was an article that, we're going to kind of look at here. We're going to take some highlights out of it from the New York Post. Kamala Harris' campaign could be doomed by black voters fading Democratic loyalty. So let's definitely get into that. Now, Vice President Kamala Harris, her polling, rise, they say obscure, her continuing weakness with black voters. Now, why is she having an issue with black voters? It's because she don't connect with us. She had so many different times that maybe she could at least try, but she haven't tried. She has went this campaign just to basically completely avoid black people. No policies whatsoever for the black community, but she's talking about everything else. So why would black people be thinking about her like that? Listen, a lot of us out here is not thinking about no color or thinking about no gender. We're not thinking about the first this, the first that, because what do we get out of the first this and first that? We haven't received anything. So since we don't receive anything from the first in history, then we need to look out a little bit more for the overall community and definitely our pocketbook. Now, they're saying that if she cannot fix this issue by election day, her path to win most of the key swing states will be in grave danger. And her campaign is well aware of this potentially fatal flaw. That's why her vaunted bus tour through southeastern Georgia stopped in the black-dominated Liberty County and a local historically black college. Now, Savannah said the site of Harris's final rally of the tour is majority black and gave Biden over 75% of the vote in 2020. But black voters in Georgia and nationwide have been the mainstay of the Democrat Party for decades. Exit polls show that Democratic presidential candidates have carried them by at least 72% points since 1980. But easily the largest margin for either party among the significant demographic. Even Republicans margin among, say, white evangelical voters, which has never been larger than 65 points. It pales in comparison to the Democratic domination of the black vote. That's why Harris's current margins with black voters are cause for worry in her campaign. Now, I say the Cook Political Report's polling average shows her leading Trump 75% to 19% with black voters. To say that 56-point margin would be magnificent with most demographics, but if replicated at the ballot box this November, it would be the lowest margin recorded by the Democratic nominee among black voters since the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And say such a historical poor showing by Harris would be especially damaging in the swing states. Now, black voters were 29% of Georgia's electorate. And in 2020, and Biden carried them by 77 points. Harris would easily lose, the state, if she was to carry them by only 55 or 60 points this year. They are particularly important to her in the hopes of three Midwestern swing states. Black Americans comprise of 11 or 12% of all voters in Pennsylvania and Michigan in 2020, and Biden carried them by 85 points, in both states. Now, the math is stark for Democrats. Harris would lose Pennsylvania by 1.5 percentage points, and I believe she need to. If her margin with black voters is 20 points lower than Biden was. Now, similar showing in Michigan, would nearly erase Biden's victorious 2.8% margin there, making her even more dependent on groups like the state's large Arab population to see her through. And getting where the Arabs not feeling her because they got the abandoned Harris campaign. She would even lose Wisconsin, a much wider state, if her current margin among black voters doesn't improve. Blacks were 6% of the Badger State's electorate in 2020, but Biden won them by 84 points en route to a narrow 63% victory. Now, Harris will lose Wisconsin. That's why they've been in Milwaukee talking so much. By the same margin, if she wins the black vote by only 64 points, this means the contest, for black votes is crucial, for both campaigns. Trump has to keep the small but real gains he has made among black voters, while Harris has to win back those formerly staunch Democrats who have seemingly become disenchanted with the administration and saying which she serves. They say that's much easier said than done. It sure is, because a lot of black people at this stage in the game are very upset. They have not been prioritized. We've seen the Biden-Harris administration do for everybody else except black Americans. We're seeing migrants getting all the resources and black Americans aren't getting anything. And the Democrat Party is to blame, completely to blame. So why would black Americans be excited to go vote for her in November? Because I'm telling you right now, listen, what they did in California the other day, I already told you what I'm on. If you listen to the last podcast, I'm on vote against blue no matter who. What does that mean? You vote against blue from the top of the ticket. We mean Biden, the Harris and Trump ticket, all the way down to your local elections. You don't have to, some people say, well, I'm not going to vote for Trump. You don't have to vote for Trump. Vote for a third party. If you don't like nobody, vote for yourself. At least you came out, you voted, and you didn't vote for blue. If there is a Democrat on the ballot and they're running unopposed, vote for yourself in that place. That way you showed up to vote. They know you're there, and they're going to see your name was put down on the ballot and you voted for yourself in that race. I'd rather you vote for yourself than give your vote to any kind of Democrat candidate, because what we have to do as a community is to let the Democrats know they have messed with us for the last time. And what happened in California the other day at that state assembly, that is the policy of the Democrat Party. You don't get more Democrat than Gavin Newsom. You don't get more Democrat than California. And whatever happens in California is usually the policy of the Democrat Party. Gavin Newsom was sabotaging the reparations bills. We saw exactly the play. We saw exactly what it was. Gavin Newsom wanted to finesse and say, no. I don't want a state agency to determine eligibility for reparations. I want another study at California State University. No. And because of that, right there, we got to vote against blue, no matter who at this point. We got to. Choose whatever person you want to choose. Choose yourself. I'm not telling you got to vote for Trump. That's not what this is. I'm telling you that we have to look out for our community, our collective community. Because if I was, say, selfish, I'd be like, well, it don't matter who you're in. I'm going to do what I got to do, right? But I understand that my people as a collective may not have my mindset or even the things that I have going on. And at the same time, I want what I have going on to be more prosperous and to be a lot easier. Realistically, when Trump was in office, things were a lot more prosperous, a lot more affordable. When Biden-Harris got in office, things is not as prosperous and things is not as affordable. I'm sorry. You got to think about your pocketbook at the end of the day. That's all, because you can't spend your color. You can't spend a gender. You can't spend orientation. You can't spend abortion. You can't spend none of that. You can't spend a thing. But what you can spend when it comes to money, you can spend that. That's what you can spend. Think about your pocketbook when you vote. Think about that. Because your pocketbook is being touched with the Biden-Harris administration, and Harris is going to continue. Matter of fact, she is more radical than even Biden could ever be. So I am not for signing up for her policies and what she is trying to do to the Black American community. Yes, America, but here we focusing on what's happening in Black America. She should have trouble, but not just her. Remember, we got to make sure that the Democrat Party, not just her, the Democrat Party feel what they did in California from the top of the ticket all the way down to the local race. I don't care if they had a election for a dog catcher. If that dog catcher is a Democrat, he's running unopposed, vote for yourself. That's how serious we got to be with it. We don't even want a dog catcher to be a Democrat at this point for what they did in California. Because see, if y'all as a community don't send a clear message to the Democrat Party that, Black America is not one to be messed with, and we wanted to show you better than we can tell you, if you don't send that message to the Democrat Party, then it's over. It's a wrap. This election is going to either tell them that they never have to do nothing for you in the existence of this country, or they're going to have to do something for you. Now, we know we got some people that's silly. We know this. But we talking about to those who can make a difference. We saying to everybody, get registered to vote and participate. And because you can't be on here mad in the comment section. You can't be mad talking at your job and you're not registered to vote. Get registered to vote, vote.gov, as we always talk about. Get registered to vote. So that way you can participate in the process. We need all hands on deck. I support early voting. That's what I'm going to do. The first day of early voting, I will be there early that morning to make sure I vote against blue no matter who. Because I'm sick and tired of what the Democrats have done to black people. Black people have been the most loyal side chick. Let's call it that. You want to call it a relationship? We have been the most loyal side chick. But yet, that's the relationships they have with Black America. They have you, keep you around. Yeah, they'll give you just a little bit here and there, but you're never gonna be in the main chick position. You're never gonna be there. And that's the relationship they have. You're the dirty secret. You don't be out in public with the side chick. You don't take the side chick to Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas and all that with your family. That's how the Democrat Party treat black people. And it's on us as black people to say no more. Yeah, the civil rights generation was cool with that, but we not. We about our paper. We about our reparations all the way around. And if you're not going to give it to us, you're just not going to get our vote. And it's just that simple. So, yeah, she do need to be in trouble. But every Democrat in this country need to be in trouble. Do you know all those people that ran, that California legislature, Black Caucus, they all on the ballot. We need black folks, all hands on deck, to be out there voting against all of them. Vote either for the Republican or third party, or vote for yourself, but just make sure you show up and don't give them your vote. Don't. Now, I've talked to a lot of people. They said they're going to do some protest voting. They're going to do spite voting, like voting for Trump and Republicans out of spite. Hey, whatever you think you got to do vote against blue, no matter who, whatever. I'm not telling you how to do it. But at least you showed up. At least you're going to participate in the process. So let's see what happens. Like I say, she has 63 days to keep going and get that hashtag going. Vote against blue no matter who. That's what we got to be on right now.